Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining our webinar this morning on Dynamics 365 customer engagement. As the UK's leading Microsoft Cloud partner, we bring you the most helpful and relevant information from industry experts. Bytes work in partnership with Quantic, who will be hosting the webinar today. They are a Microsoft Gold partner in all aspects of Dynamics and part of the Microsoft Dynamics Inner Circle. A quick bit of housekeeping. During the webinar, you are muted, but you can submit questions at any time via the questions box on the right-hand side of your screen. There will be a Q&A at the end of this session to answer all of the submitted questions. The webinar recording will be made available for you afterwards. And if you can please complete the critique form at the end, where you can request a call back from one of our specialists at Bytes. I'll now hand you over to Kevin Ingray and Phil Snow from Quantic.
Okay, thanks, Andy. It's Kevin Ingray from Quantic here. Right, so just a brief introduction of myself. So my name's Kevin Ingray. I'm a senior solutions consultant for Quantic, which means I'm one of our technical pre-sales resources. Prior to that, I was a solutions consultant in our delivery team, doing an awful lot of Dynamics 365 deliveries. And I'm joined today by my colleague, Phil Snow.
Hi, good morning all. As it says, I'm Business Development Director here at Quantic, and I work alongside Kevin and the rest of the team on the Dynamics 365 stack. Okay. So I'd just like to kick off, if I can, with a very quick introduction. Just one slide on summarising who Quantic are. The way the slide is put together, hopefully you can read some of our accreditations there, but fundamentally we're part of the inner circle for Dynamics globally. That puts Quantic as one of the top 1% partners within that portfolio. Fundamentally, you can see that the skill sets that we have, the number of sites that we've worked and implemented, but really draw your attention to the bottom right of the screen. As an organisation, we're able to advise and implement right across the Dynamics capability. And fundamentally, Quantic are a solutions partner, and we can implement across that portfolio depending on what your business requirement is. And really, our approach, everyone, is one of advice. It's really aimed and geared to help you, alongside us, identify, what's the optimum D365 solution for your particular requirement. So we bring to bear our knowledge, our skill, our business experiences, and obviously arrive and work with you, hopefully collaboratively, to what is the best solution based upon each and everyone's specific requirements. So as I said, just one slide on Quantic there. I'm going to hand you over, which is the main thrust of this presentation, to Kevin, who's obviously going to walk you through the customer engagement suite on what it provides. Kevin?
Okay, thanks, Phil. So Dynamics 365 is a business applications platform, of which there are a number of products in there that are related to the customer engagement banner, which we'll be taking you through today. So in the wider Dynamics and Microsoft stack, we have our Microsoft Cloud productivity products, so Office 365, Power BI, Power Apps, and some stuff around the Common Data Service. And as well as that, we have Dynamics 365. Within Dynamics 365, we have a number of different products within the ecosystem. And the ones that we're going to be focusing on today are the customer engagement apps. And these are the ones where typically you interact back and forth or have correspondence and engagement with a customer. So we'll be looking at D365 for sales, customer service, field service, project service automation, and the marketing capabilities in today's webinar. Alongside Dynamics 365 and in the wider ecosystem, we have the ability to hook into some of the Microsoft Azure platform and be able to do some very advanced stuff these days, such as artificial intelligence, chatbots, all aligned and working with Dynamics 365 products. So starting at the very beginning, let's start with Dynamics 365 sales. Dynamics 365 Sales is the sort of classic CRM capability, but it's much more than that now, and has a number of features and functionality. That sort of makes it a best of breed sales application system. So out of the box, Dynamics 365 for Sales gives you the ability to see and track your opportunity pipeline and all of the details around what's going on in your sales organization. It does this by having sort of business process flow driven sales functionality. And what I mean by that is we can take and have information from a prospective lead, so somebody that is expressing an interest in working with us, all the way through to qualifying that into a genuine opportunity. And we can do this using the business process flow capabilities in Dynamics, allowing us to track that journey and work that potential sale or opportunity through from sort of the initial incubation all the way through to completion, hopefully an expression of an order. On top of that, Dynamics 365 has full activity management capabilities. So it's really strong in being able to track stuff like I've had an interaction with this customer, or I've sent an email to a particular prospect about some services that we're offering. Really key to just making sure that the latest information around the potential of a deal or an opportunity is tracked and monitored. Following on from that, Dynamics 365 for Sales has a great native sort of capability with Office 365. So we can do stuff like generating sales documentation using Word templates. So the ability to take data from within your Dynamics 365 for Sales, say an opportunity, and expose that data and create, say, a sales quotation, all within one sort of click from the application itself. Alongside that, we have Outlook integration, so web-based and client-based integration, to track and manage all relevant activity. So we can do stuff like making sure that emails relating to an opportunity are tracked in against the records in Dynamics. So we have the latest information when looking at what the status of an opportunity is. And alongside that, we can do stuff like if we have an expression of an interest that comes into our mailbox, we can track it in as a lead in Dynamics, all with a very few sort of minimal clicks to be able to do that. Security is obviously a major functionality area as well, just so being able to have role-based permissions and accessing the pertinent information to you and your role within an organization. And it's also GDPR compliance and helpful in processing the consent and management of individual data. So being able to track stuff like preferences and how people can be contacted is a great sort of key example of some functionality within the Dynamics 365 platform. On top of the sales application, we now have the concept of relationship analytics. So additional capability in the suite that helps you help yourself in most cases. So accessing data around how previously you've operated in successful opportunities and being able to use that to then trend how you might perform going forward. It also does stuff around relationship analytics, so working out what the trends are on strong relationships that result in orders. So it does this by looking at historical data and the ability to have activity set against an opportunity. So for instance, if we have more face-to-face meetings with a customer, chances are we might have a better engagement, and therefore our relationship analytics might say this is actually going quite well. And it helps us discover new relationships and data from our internal teams as well. So there's a concept of who knows whom, which will let you see if anybody else in your organization is already in contact with somebody who may be expressing an interest. So now we're going on to the sort of updates that are coming into Dynamics 365 for Sales in the sort of near future. So every year, Dynamics 365 has 2 major platform updates, and from them we get a number of potential updates that will be coming in, and they'll be phased in over sort of coming months. With D365 for Sales, some of the key things that we're getting is a tighter integration with the Sales Navigator platform from LinkedIn, so a lot more functionality and availability of data to be shared and shown within Dynamics. And that process of integrating those two is being improved as well. You may be aware of the Microsoft Teams capability, which is shortly replacing the Skype for Business capability, and gives you a collaborative tool with which you can discuss, chat, and work collaboratively across documents. And one of the key things there is that Dynamics 365 for Sales has now been integrated with Microsoft Teams, so that you can link a team to an opportunity, for instance, collaborate with colleagues, and say produce documentation that you can then send on to your potential prospects or customers. In addition, we're going to see some forecasting capabilities, so really easy ways of doing some simple forecasting to be able to track and manage quotas and goals for your sales team, along with selected configure price quotes tools. So these are tools that help you build out and generate much lower level detail of sales functionality. So if you had a particular product that you sold that had various variations or various different elements that could be added to it, you'd be able to use the CPQ tools from third parties in a much easier format with Dynamics 365 for Sales. In addition, in the last major update, there was the concept of playbooks that came in, and these are getting further improved. So playbooks give you the ability to sort of can and make common scenarios a driven sort of process. So if somebody leaves an organization that you are prospecting with or have an opportunity open for, you could have a playbook that when somebody leaves that organization, spins up and gives you some activities on what you need to do in that scenario. And they're going to be further enhanced in the April 19 update. Dynamics 365 for customer service is the next sort of major tool in the arsenal for Dynamics customer engagement. And this gives you a full customer service solution in which to manage customer cases and queries. And it does this again by having some great dashboards sort of out of the box to show you where the work is, what it's related to, and being able to help your customer service agents resolve those issues quickly and speedily. It does this by having a case management capability. So customer has an issue, they send in an email to you that can automatically generate a case in Dynamics 365, which can then be managed and dealt with by your customer service agents. They can then utilize the capability of knowledge articles to manage and monitor and help your customers help themselves in some cases by providing very easy to use knowledge bases, articles on, say, common scenarios. So such as being able to reset a machine or a product, for instance. Underpinning customer service is the concept of service level agreements. So all of our cases can be tracked and monitored against key performance indicators. So if we have a gold, silver, bronze level of SLA for our customers, that can be tracked against any cases that they log in to us. So we can then monitor our staff and our overall service performance against, say, response rates, resolution times, any sort of metric that you can think of that you might need to measure against. Also in customer service is the concept, and it's starting to be expanded in something that I'll show shortly, with the omni-channel capabilities. This means that we live in a world now where customer service and cases and queries and responses and complaints, for instance, come from numerous different angles and from different channels. So traditionally, customers would pick up the phone if they had a problem. Actually, we're seeing now an awful lot of people will be sending emails or contacting us via social media, or in some cases now wanting to communicate with us via chat. So a live chat on your website. Dynamics 365 customer service is absolutely able to be cognizant of all those channels and be able to have those channels create cases for us. One of the key benefits of the customer service application is the ability to have self-service portals. So where we have all of this data for customers to be able to send to us when they have an issue, actually, how about would they help themselves by looking at our portal? So they can do stuff like seeing all of the current knowledge base articles. They can log cases with us via the portal themselves, and being able to hopefully self-serve in some cases to stop them having to create a case by providing a nice, easy to use place to see detail and help themselves with issues that it may be having. So what's coming in the April 19 updates? So some new key stuff around case resolution extensibility. This will be coming in the sort of next few months, hopefully, with the ability to change the resolution dialogues that happen when you close down a case. So saying how you solved an issue or what the issue was, and being able to close it down with fields customized to yourselves. There's going to be a significant improvement to the timeline control to show activity around what an agent or a customer service representative has done with a case. And there's going to be an enhancement to the SLA timers to show the elapsed time of the overall case or the amount of time remaining. So being able to see much more sort of pertinent detail on when we are likely or if we are likely to breach SLA timers. And there's going to be knowledge article templates, so being a much easier way of spinning up and creating templates for branding consistency across knowledge base articles. Now, one of the key updates in the April 19 elements for Dynamics 365 for customer service is going to be an introduction of a new product in its own right alongside customer service called the Omnichannel Engagement Hub, which gives us the ability to have complex routing and work distribution architectures. So using a drag and drop facility, you'll be able to diagnose and send the right cases to the right people within your organization. So if a case comes in that is related to a particular product or to a particular service where there are particular people internally who are the experts in dealing with that, you'll be able to route and make sure that those cases go to the right team at the right time. Alongside that, there's going to be an agent and supervisor view to the Omnichannel Engagement Hub. So it helps your agents being able to work and deal with customer service cases and being able to call upon their supervisor when needed. So in an example, if they have a web chat going on with a customer and they're unable to help, maybe they call in their supervisor at an appropriate time to say, actually, I need some further help. Can you help me with this case? And one of the key things there is that from seeing the data from the customer, we'll have a complete 360 view of that data and being able to manage and maintain that sort of customer session. With the Omnichannel Engagement Hub, we are going to see some increased channels that are looking really, really exciting, actually. So live chat, we're going to have the ability to link a live chat from, say, your customer or from your website that lets people start a chat conversation with you. Previously, this would have been handled by third-party applications within Dynamics, but now it's going to become a native element of the application using the Omnichannel Engagement Hub. In addition, we're also going to get an SMS channel for our customers to contact us on and to be contacted via that channel as well. So we could have an SMS number linked in to our customer service application where customers can text a number and say, I've got an issue, and it will create a case for them, and the customer service representatives will be able to contact that customer back on that number. And we also have the concept of bring in your own bots. So this is where we start using the Microsoft bot framework that you may or may not be aware of in the Microsoft Azure capability to basically give us a way of initially triaging or dealing with cases before we have to escalate to an actual support engineer. So doing some of the common scenarios and taking some of the heavy lifting away from your first line support. So having the concept of a bot to answer questions that could be found on your website, for instance, or to take the details of the person who has an issue so that we don't have to ask those questions before they go to a customer service representative. Dynamics 365 for Field Service is the capability in the customer engagement platform for managing work orders in the field. So what do I mean by this? I mean the ability to track and manage an issue at a remote location. So this is great for any companies or any customers that may provide services to a customer or at a customer site. So if something's broken, for instance, like an electrician would go out and be asked to fix a potential issue, field service is the ability in Dynamics to manage that process. So you have the concept of a work order, some piece of work that I need to do. We can assign an engineer, book the right resource to go and do that work based on skill criteria, based on availability, based on location, and send the engineer out to fix that issue. And this is all done via a very convenient schedule board, so we can see where our engineers are, what they're working on, and where they're going next. And all of that can be managed by the field service mobile app, which has been improved, and we'll come on to that shortly. So that your engineers have an application that they can use in the field to see where they're going for their work orders and track and manage their activity whilst on site with a customer. Field service is also incorporating some of the much more advanced features, such as Internet of Things. So we now have the ability for Internet of Things devices. These are connected devices that can send telemetry data. So an example would be Raspberry Pis, the boards that you see can be used, for instance, to send data over the internet saying a temperature has hit a certain temperature, or we've got a device out in the field that's malfunctioning. If it's IoT enabled and it can send that data out, we can use that data with Dynamics 365 for field service to automatically create work orders. So a good example would be we have a machine out in the wild, and it gets to a point where it does a certain number of rotations of a fan, for instance, and actually we need to change that fan after 10,000 rotations. So we can send the data when it's nearing that point over to Dynamics 365 for field service, and it can create a work order in advance to prevent issues. And as mentioned, this is all handled again by a mobile app for the engineers who are actually working on the site. So they can do stuff like grab signatures to say they've completed the work, make a note of what they've done, and actually confirm that piece of work has been completed successfully. Or in some cases, if they need to say, actually, I'm running late here, I'm going to be much longer than I was anticipating. So that can go back to your head office team, who can then manage expectations with customers that they may have been scheduled to see later. So what's coming in the April 19 update for field service? So great embedded IoT visualization. So the Internet of Things elements that we spoke about just now will be enhanced. So you'll be able to see dashboards and live data in field service. So we have the concept of what's known as heartbeat alert. So when something happens from our remote devices, the data is being sent to Dynamics so we can keep an eye on it. As you can see in one of the pictures, we have a work order when a temperature spikes at a certain level. Alongside the IoT elements, we will be able to send device commands back to the IoT device straight from Dynamics 365. So actually, we have the potential to tell these IoT devices to actually perform a function. So if we feel that a device has sent us a piece of data, and actually there's nothing too major that we need to send out for a work order, perhaps we could just say, put the temperature down by 10 degrees, and we can send those device commands to the device using IoT Central from Microsoft and the Microsoft Flow capability. In addition, we're going to have the ability to multiple resource manage elements of people going out together. So we might have an engineer and a junior engineer who go as a team to work on a work order. So we have the ability to send crews and multiple resource bookings for a single job. We also have the ability to have variable resource locations. So if a member of our team, say, works 2 days a week in London and 3 days a week in Manchester, we can have that schedule set up in field service so that we can then appropriately resource them to work orders close to where they're likely to be based on their schedule. We also have the ability to schedule work orders for an as soon as possible scenario. So this can be a major P1, so escalation issue that you might be having with a customer. And actually, we need to get somebody out there straight away. but actually that has a major impact on the rest of the work that we're doing. So if we send one of our engineers to be on an as soon as possible job, it will then re-rank and change the bookings of other work orders based around the immediate need. We also have embedded IoT data that we saw earlier, but this is also going to be enhanced by using Power BI. So we're going to have lots of different data from our field service app being able to show the data in a much more easier to read format. So what's going on with our devices out in the field, showing that data in Power BI dashboards and reports. There's also going to be improvements for field service SLAs, which is a slightly new concept. We have SLAs in the customer service capability, and they're going to be extended to field service and improved with the same sort of capabilities there. Dynamics 365 for project service automation. So this is shortly referred to as PSA. PSA is a product that basically gives us project management capabilities within the Dynamics 365 customer engagement platform. And it gives us the ability to integrate that process with our sales function. So at the point that we are potentially running an opportunity for some services or a project, we can start scoping out what the resource requirements might be for that. It gives us the ability to have work breakdown structures of projects, including tasks and the resources required to do those tasks. And it helps us basically build out a project and manage it within Dynamics 365. It also gives us the ability to forecast, so we can actually work out resource utilization and capacity based off of the scheduled the work that we've already sort of won and that we're managing as a project. So it lets us have a real good visibility of, if we win this particular deal, we might need 3 more engineers to be able to work on this project. So actually we could use that as a piece of data that we can then make business decisions based off of. And it has a full time and expenses product within the PSA module, so people can submit timesheets and expenses that correlate to a project. So what's going to be happening with project service in April 19, or from April 19? The answer is project service and PSA has actually had not an awful lot of information around its potential update. And this is largely because project service automation and the wider Microsoft Project Online platforms are actually converging. So we're going to have what's known as Project Service, is a new product that ultimately was going to replace Microsoft Project Online. And it's built on the Common Data Service, which is the elements of the customer engagement platform, which all of the apps there are built on. So it's going to be very much aligned to the Common Data Service. And it means that we're going to see in the next few months a new product that will be able to manage our projects online and also integrate and have the data fed into our Dynamics 365 product. So it's going to ultimately change somewhat, but the details of how exactly it's going to change are at this moment in time still being demonstrated, and we'll have further information on that in the near future. Dynamics 365 for marketing. This was the latest app that came out into the major elements of customer engagement last year. And since then, we've seen an awful lot of companies picking up and starting to use Dynamics 365 for marketing. It's a great product, has lots and lots of functionality, and actually is being significantly improved in the April 19 update. As a very basic tool, it has customer journeys. So out of the box, you'll be able to manage your customer journeys and marketing or automation and campaigns. It does this using a drag and drop interface, so incredibly easy to use, but has significant power to it in that we can do branched logic in our customer journeys. So I can do stuff like, if a customer has been sent an email, we can track if they've opened that email or not. And if they have, we can do a different part of the branch and say, for instance, follow up their interest. Or if they haven't opened the email, we could send or do something different. So it has the ability to be reflective and reactive based on what our customer is doing during a journey. And it lets us do lots of capabilities such as sending marketing email messages, inviting customers to events, sending out surveys, all within the Dynamics 365 product. The email marketing element is a really strong capability. Lets you do really nice branded emails that can be sent out and tailored to your audience. So when sending an email, rather than just saying, hi, here's our detail around a new product, we could say, hi, Kevin, here's some detail around our new product, and really push that personalization angle, which is really key in trying to make sure that we are focused and making our marketing content as good as we can for our customers. Has lots of templates that we can use to get up and running quickly. However, those templates can be created for and can be created by yourselves, and also has full HTML-driven backbone to it, so that we can actually build and HTML elements into our marketing emails. We have the concept of landing pages, which lets us get data from our customer. So we could say, tell us your marketing preferences in an email, and it will link them to a landing page. When they fill in that landing page, it will submit the data back to Dynamics. So we can do stuff like managing subscriptions. So do you want to be signed up to our marketing newsletter? Click yes, and if they do, great, then they can stay on our list. If no, then we have to remove them. But it gives us that ability to let the customer tell us how they want to be or contacted or to submit information to us. It has a full website integration element to the marketing platform, so we can start tracking lead activity around unknown users using cookie tokens. We can segment our customers based on any metric of data that we hold against them. So for instance, I could say, I want to go to a group of customers all based in London, or I want to do a group of customers who have previously bought a certain product. And then we can use those segments as part of our customer journeys. It also has a full lead scoring model capability, letting us determine and rank our potential leads coming into the system. So if they interact with some of the emails that we sent or have signed up for an event, we can score them higher than other leads who may have not interacted with us as much. And then we can use that to promote what's known as sales readiness. So this lead is ready to be contacted by our sales organization. Dynamics 365 for Marketing also has a full event management capability, and this is quite unique in a lot of other marketing automation platforms tend to not do event management or usually integrate to a third-party system. Microsoft have come in with a very, very strong and very capable event management capability, and it lets you track and manage the entire event from start to finish, and includes stuff like the physical locations of where you're managing an event. And it has a full sort of customer attendance capability, so it can generate QR codes which can be scanned in and mark people as attending an event. It also has the full voice of the customer survey, so we can actually query our event attendees after an event to say, how was it? And it also has a full portal capability, which lets us show our events in the wider Dynamics 365 world and say, actually, we've got these events upcoming. Let customers register themselves, submit data to us about how or what they might need in terms of access or dietary requirements. All of that can be done via the Dynamics 365 event management portal. So what's coming in the April 19 update? Actually, we've got some really good stuff coming in marketing side of things. Key one that I mentioned just now was, obviously we have the concept of a portal which comes with Dynamics 365 marketing. What a lot of customers have said is, actually that's great, but wouldn't it be better if we could just integrate this into our content management system or our website? And the answer is yes, we can now. So you can take some embeddable elements of the Dynamics 365 marketing event management capability and embed that into your own website. So it could be stuff like event registrations, or these are the events that we're running. You'll be able to integrate that with your own website rather than having to use the Dynamics 365 marketing portal. In addition, this was one that was crying out for a lot of people, but it's now coming into the system, social posting. So as part of the customer journey, I might want to post to Twitter about something or a new product launch, for instance, and have that entire journey from start to finish and do a social post. We now have the ability to do that, primarily for the Twitter social channel initially, but this will be expanding to other social channels over time. We also have the concept of enhanced registrations for events, letting us actually manage capacity and plan for over attendance. So we have the ability to say that we have 10 slots or 10 spaces for an event, for instance, and actually manage waiting lists that come off of the back of that. So we might be able to say, have an event that has a certain capacity, and actually we have a wait list just as long as the attendee list for the original event. So maybe we use that to spin up and create another event and offer it to our people that were on the waiting list. The QR codes have been updated to make it easier to email them and for simple for attendees to sign in on the day. We're also getting the concept of smart scheduling. So emails, when we send them out to Dynamics 365 for marketing, it will track the times when the emails have been read, for instance, because we might send an email at a certain time and actually less of our customers read it because it's the time of day. So it will start using some of the artificial intelligence to predict when our customers are more likely to read an email, and then actually use that to send those emails at the right times. So for instance, I personally wouldn't read emails at say 2 a.m. my time, but actually it might be preferable and will pick up to actually send emails to me from 9 a.m. on a business day when I'm more likely to read them. It also has a spam score prediction analysis in there. So on the emails that you might be creating, it will give you an indication of whether it's likely to be hit by spam filters based off of the content. So this will do stuff like, if it's very generic and not personalized, it might be more likely to hit a spam filter because it's not doing or not providing enough detail to say this is of a genuine email capability. So those are the things, that's what's coming in the Microsoft Dynamics 365 for marketing update in April. I'm now going to hand you over to my colleague Phil, who's going to take you through the options available to you from Quantic in terms of support of your Dynamics 365 products.
Thanks, Kevin. Just drop on that one for me. So Quantic is geared to either help you with either your existing Dynamics platform, whether you are requiring assistance, support, or post-implementation or during implementation support. So we can provide obviously access to our teams to help that process for you. Or of course, if we are implementing and delivering directly with you, we can then obviously build this in as part of our package. The next slide really just talks about some of the support options that we have. There are two traditional models that are available, and one that has been in play for quite a number of years in the channel is you pay a fee and obviously you call the support line. We work slightly different, where we work a retainer fee, providing really a time and materials based logging facility. The benefit of that is that you, via access to our online systems and your defined portal into us, can control those costs, can control the costs of calls and how we obviously are managing those through for you. Stats, as you can see there from us, we have a UK team here are consisting of 14 people, and then we have an additional 8 Quantic employed staff based out of our Manila office. The object there is we're doing a lot of what we call follow the sun with a number of international and global clients at the moment. Those clients are needing resolution, obviously, sometimes when we're not working in normal UK office hours. So we have a facility now that can offer clients, and the scenario could be there is a ticket, there is a log that still needs to be worked on and resolved, and it could be quite critical. We're able at the end of the working day is have that passed over to our Manila team, who whilst we're in bed or wherever, or we're out and about, we're able to continue with that call, continue with that log and progress it to really provide a speedy solution to the ticket in hand. That all being well, that ticket can technically begin to be worked on over a 24-hour period. That's a service, as an offer that we provide to our clients if required. And the products, as we can see there, that we cover there's below, by the team is the engagement, the CRM, of course, the Dynamics 365 finance operations, and the talent HR application. So in effect, as it says there, it offers clients really 5 days a week at the moment, but the option pretty much nearly for 24-hour support across that. If we move on, Kevin. Today's session really for you all, and why we've hosted this with Beist is really for the Byte account managers to, all being well for it yourselves, be contacted. And if you wish, we'd love to invite you for a more in-depth view and come across to our location in London, and we would actually look to give a live presentation of the software. Today really was a taster. It's a big topic. It's a big application in terms of the modules and the functionality it offers. A lot to cover on a WebEx. We're more than happy to welcome you to a more interactive session with us, where we'd have Kevin and a number of the team showing live software, taking through different scenarios for you. And the date you can see and the time is here on the screen, and we'll be sending out registration links for that event if you'd like to attend. Kevin?
Yeah, just to echo on the final of that statement, we'll be showing the customer engagement applications and some of the wider ecosystem products. So we'll be able to show stuff like Power Apps, which we haven't been able to cover today. So definitely do come along if this was of interest to you, and you'll see some of the great elements of Dynamics 365. So moving on from there, it's basically opening up the forum for any Q&A questions that we may have, whilst we've got some minutes left to answer them.
Yeah. So if there are any questions, fire them in.
Thank you. I'll just get the questions box up. Just to reiterate what the guys said, there is a pop-up, a feedback form that will pop up at the end of the webinar. As Andy said at the beginning, we do really value your feedback. So if you could just answer a couple of questions, and you can actually put in there if you are interested in attending the workshop, or if you would prefer more of a sort of one-to-one engagement. So just bear that in mind. So we do have a couple of questions. Someone's asked, do you use Dynamics 365 for your ticket logging?
Yes, is the answer. Dynamics 365 for customer service is essentially a ticket logging system, but it's much more than that. Hopefully you would have seen some of the capabilities, but we can take you through how it can be used as a ticketing platform, but in a much sort of more fluent way. So we can show you exactly how it can do it and how it can really set itself apart in terms of being a very strong customer service solution.
And yes, we use it in-house to manage our ticketing and support desks. Okay.
Perfect. Yep. So next question is, are there any mobile apps for Dynamics 365? And if so, do they cost extra?
So the Dynamics 365 platform comes with an app that you can use across various elements of the product. It's free, and it uses and it can be used on the Apple devices, so iPhones. It can be used across Android devices. So commonly, most business products and most business product phones can be used with the app, and it lets you do all the stuff that you can do from a traditional desktop or from a traditional web browser on the go. So a great example of that is Dynamics 365 for sales, being able to, as a salesperson, go out in the field and see detail of who I'm going to see, but also critically, it can have offline capabilities as well. So we can actually see our data even in areas where there is low signal. So it's a really great tool and something that I'll be able to demonstrate at the workshop.
Thank you, Kevin. And lastly, does this sit inside my current Office 365 environment?
So the answer is yes, it can sit inside your Dynamics. Sit inside your Office 365 environments. Dynamics is just an element of your overall Office 365 tenant. So it has the ability to be aligned to that, and you can manage it all from within sort of one singular place. It's not a product that sits outside. It's all part of that same suite of things. So if you have Dynamics 365 online, completely manageable from within Office.
And within the Office platform, if any of the organisations are not using the likes of Power BI, then of course Power BI again, just dips and utilises the data, the rich data that's in customer engagement. So really from a solution look and feel point of view, if you're using Office 365, this is in effect like another add-on alongside, of course, the reporting and analytical tool of Power BI.
Thank you both. No, I think that's it for now. If anyone does think of anything at a later date, you know, you can email tellmemore@bytes.co.uk and we'll get the response back to you, or you could reach out to your Bytes account manager. As I said earlier, the webinar recording will be made available to you within the next 24 hours or so. And if you could just fill in the feedback form when the webinar ends, that'd be much appreciated. So thank you everybody for your time today on the webinar. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Phil.
No, thank you for hosting. It's been a really good session, and hopefully look forward to seeing some people at the workshop.
Thank you, Andy.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone. I'll now end the webinar. Have a great day.
All the best. Thank you all. Bye-bye.